welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hcast episode 26. Sorry that we are running, 5, 7, whatever it is, minutes late. Do apologize, ladies and gents. We've just given Tom a little bit of a chance to hop in here, but I'm aware over on Midnight Stage they've got Andre's birthday stream. So, yeah, we'll just sort of jump right in and kind of get started. So, we've got a pretty full-on podcast for you today, ladies and gents. We're going to be talking Renfield, which is Nicolas Cage, the best Dracula, ? We shall see. We'll discuss it. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about Star Wars, because that's just a bit of a shit show. Star Trek, because that's a bit of a shit show. DC, because there's some unprecedented news about that, which I think is magnifique and possibly not good as well. But who knows? We shall see. And Marvel, because Marvel has some interesting snippets of news to cover today. So as always, I'm joined by Culture Casino. How you doing, good sir?
I'm wonderful. It's been a good day. I had to hustle around because I wanted to make sure I was here for today's show, because there is some news we do want to talk about, and you and I have maybe differing opinions on some things, so that's always a good time.
Yeah. I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be good. I think we got some that's par for the course with these things. It's good to have a differing opinion on some of this stuff. So yeah, ladies and gents, obviously this is the Hcast podcast. So one thing I will say, ladies and gents, as we're sort of going through this, if you want to support the show, but you also want to drop in and actually contribute to the show, get your thoughts heard, super chats are the way to do that. So we'll be talking, chit-chatting away. I'll be looking at the chat. I've got moderators here as well, and they'll be sending me your super chats to get to. So it's a good way to donate to the channel, the podcast, but then also, like I said, we'll take a hot, deep dive into your nether realms of your super chats. I was trying to sex it up.
Okay, well, you're not in bed, at least, for that one.
No, I'm so fucking tired. This diet's killing me. Anyway, my brain, my cognitive function is lacking. So yeah, we'll rock it down into your nether regions for the super chat. So no, I'm gonna do it again. I don't care. I'm gonna own it. All right.
All right. Bring us straight to the crotch of your concern.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, I said nether realms because I was like, well, it's bordering on nether regions, and people can do it.
I went all the way there for you. So
you did. Less is more, as they say.
Okay.
Unless when it comes to food, then please just give me all the food in my face because I'm very hungry. Anyway.
By the way, I'll mention, if you are a member or if you become a member, you get one free super chat a month as a member chat. So don't forget to take advantage of that. So
yes. That is exactly right. So another way to support the channel, guys, ladies and gents, is actually to become a member. So on Thursdays, there's a members only live stream. There will be a little bit more benefits coming. As you can probably tell, I'm a little bit tired, fatigued, I'm dieting, things are a bit poop. But there will be some more things on their way. But if you want access to a private members only stream, a monthly free super chat, then become a member or a Patreon. Links to those things are down below in the description box. So, let's talk. Go.
Tell them to hit the like button.
Oh yeah, please do hit the thumbs up button, ladies and gents. We're doing well with this podcast.
And when we're done, go check out the 2 videos he did today because they were good.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, appreciate it. So yeah, please do hit the thumbs up button, and I will say as well, check out the podcast channel down below in the description box as well. That'd be really, really good. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
So
we're getting a Midnight's Edge raid, so here they come.
Yeah, I can see all of that. See all of that. That's really, really cool. Excellent stuff. Thanks for everyone joining in. So let's talk Renfield, right? So Renfield released on, Friday? I wanted to see it Friday. I never had a chance to. Really, really busy weekend. And I managed to watch it yesterday. Now, this is a film, look, I really like Nicolas Cage. I think if you've grown up through a certain era, you appreciate Nicolas Cage on a different level. I think Nicolas Cage is great. He can act. He's an Oscar winner. He is actually a really, really good actor. He's got into some serious financial troubles, but he's a very real bloke. And now, thankfully, he's actually completely debt free. This is the first movie I've seen on his on the big screen in a very long time, and it was an absolute joy. So when I saw that, he was playing Dracula in Renfield, I just saw the behind the scenes pictures that sort of leaked. I was like, yeah, man, this is epic. I thought the costume looked great on the behind the scenes images. It all looked good. And then we learn what Renfield's about a little bit more, get the trailer, and I'm all in. And I go to see it yesterday. And just to tell you a little bit of the story, I wasn't primed. I was primed to enjoy it, but on the day I wasn't primed to enjoy it. So it's about an hour's drive for me to go to the cinema. And so I was driving. I was on the motorway, driving down the motorway, and I hop off. On the junction that I need to hop off at to go to the cinema, and there's a diversion. I'm like, poo. I've timed it. I'm not going to get there in time. I have to hop off the motorway, double back on myself, go, down a ton down the highway to double back on myself to go a different route. And I'm stressing. This is horrendous, blah, blah, blah. But I get there in time. I'm a bit stressed. I'm a bit angry because obviously, why didn't they tell me there was a diversion a little bit sooner? It's literally the only junction you'd pull off at. So it's very strange. Anyway, I get there and I have the absolute best time. Genuinely the absolute best time. Another person who actually has seen this film is Tom. So we'll sort of, drop in and discuss our thoughts on this. I love this film. And I appreciate not everyone does, because I know culture has a different opinion. And I'd be keen to see whether Tom shares that opinion. There's a lot of sarcasm in this film. There is a lot of sarcasm. And us Brits, we love our sarcasm. We're big on sarcasm. It's our bread and butter, dry wit sarcasm. We love it. And everything worked for me. I didn't care that it was CGI gore and blood, because there was also visual effects that were so much better than they had any right to be. That opening scene where Nicolas Cage becomes a burnt husk, he's like, that was absolutely exceptionally good. There is so many good things about this film that I just like. The other things, I was like, I don't care. It's schlocky. I couldn't give a toss. We had Ava Sarala, the actress from The Expanse. I can't ever remember her name. She was epic in this. Not someone I was expecting to see. I just love this movie through and through. It was funny. Nicholas Hoult was absolutely fantastic in the role. Did not look like, it didn't look like he was being shown up by anyone. Nicolas Cage doesn't play Nicolas Cage in this. He actually acts. I just loved it. I just thought it was brilliant. Even Awkwafina was good. Liked Awkwafina in this. Didn't care. The whole thing just worked. The only thing that slightly didn't work for me, and I understand why they did it, but it's the cop revenge element. They're using it as a bit of a vehicle, to sort of expand the story outwards a little bit and connect Nicholas Hoult with Awkwafina, and then obviously bring, Dracula out a little bit more. But I just love this film. I had such a good time with it. So, culture, what did you think?
I thought it was a fine film. I enjoyed the practical effects and the special effects. Once again, you hit the nail on the head. This is better than most anything you've seen recently, especially out of Disney, of any brand. I even out of the most recent DC films and stuff, out of Warner Brothers. So, but practical effects were great. I actually tolerated Awkwafina just fine, which I was surprised by, because she can be rather annoying, but she completely dropped the black scent. I thought that Nicolas Cage was very good. I thought that Nicholas Hoult was very good. And absent that, it was an okay film. It was enjoyable. There were humorous things that definitely hit, and I got laughs out of. There were some attempts at humor that didn't hit. And then
give me an example of something that didn't land. Because this would be interesting to see, ladies and gents, whether this is the important thing, right? Like, is to figure out what it is that didn't land for certain people, to understand whether it aligns with your sense of humor. I think that's important. So what didn't land for you?
Some of the humor that was attempted during the course of the romantic elements in 2 segments in the film, which, not to spoil anything, I think you know what
You
I'm
didn't like the
referring to.
flowers? You didn't like the flower thing? I thought that was brilliant.
Uh, okay.
You normally bring flowers when you're giving
Eh,
a witness statement? Yeah, they're
yeah,
for everyone.
yeah, and then he hands the balance of them to her. But look, it was there was like flirty moments that were played off for comedy and things like that, and it was fine. I didn't, but I mean, the things that genuinely are designed to make you laugh will make you laugh, and that's a good thing. It's not like all of the hit and miss humor you get in Marvel nowadays, right? So like you said, some of the stuff didn't hit for me, didn't land, and again, Nate points out that I'm a merkin. So some of the sarcasm may be just a little too over the top for me or whatnot. But
Well, I don't know. I'm not trying
yeah.
to label, right? I
No, it's
just,
fine.
for me, all of the sarcasm worked. But
Yeah.
my experience working in
No,
America, dealing with Americans, sometimes the
yeah.
sarcasm can, the dry wit can,
It, it, I, it, it
can
doesn't put
evade.
me it doesn't put me off, but then again, I have a European background, so it's a little different. But
Mm.
it's it's like you said, overall, this was a good film. Great film? No. Good film? Yes. Great performances? At least 2. Good performances, but many. Like I said, and there was some actors in there that I recognized from other things that I enjoyed that I can't remember,
Ben Schwartz was in it.
Ben Schwartz, yeah, 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 yeah. And
Ah,
it was
motherfucking Teddy Lobo.
Teddy Hobo. So great. But like you said, it's those things. So it's hard to get better than an average rating out of me. So as I did for my review, it's a 3 out of 5 star film for me. It could have been slightly higher. And again, maybe if my mood were slightly different or I'd seen it at a different time of day, perhaps. But I saw this on a Sunday afternoon and was rather surprised. And this is an important factor. This film's being labeled a flop after only earning domestically 7.7 million here in the States. And I don't know
Mm.
how. The theater I was in was half full. It was more full than it was for
Wow.
Shazam or Dungeons and Dragons. Weird. So, but that was my movie going experience. And like I said, will I see this film again? Sure, when it comes out on streaming.
I see. I would have 100% watched this film again because the humor wasn't such that it had the air of the surprise for it to land for me. The humor just worked on a day-to-day level, so I could rewatch this and just have a good time with it again and again and again, probably. And I very rarely say that about any movie because, the humor just works. But Tom, oh Tom, you've seen a movie.
I did.
You've seen it.
I did the thing. I gotta say, I'm disappointed.
In what?
I'm disappointed that the movie flopped. I'm disappointed that culture didn't like it more. Because I loved this movie.
You're not going to be a cantankerous
I
fan
fucking
today.
loved this movie. Of course, now it needs to be
Yes.
said, I enjoy shit like Morbius because for all the wrong reasons, right? Or maybe for all the right
Okay.
reasons. So to be fair, I get it. This movie is not going to be for everybody. But for me, I had probably the best time I've had in a theater in a long time as far as just getting in 90 minutes, getting out,
Pace
enjoying
was
the
great.
story. It was funny. It pays loving homage to the Universal Dracula.
Doesn't it? I was really
Casted
surprised
brilliantly.
with that.
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
really
Nicolas
surprised with that.
Cage chews the scenery more than he does Nex in this movie, but he does it so well. And it's like, I know some people are complaining there's not more of him in it. And I'm like, yeah, I totally get it.
Yes.
But at this point, it's 90 minutes. Leave it alone. It's not setting
Yeah.
up a sequel. It's technically a tangential sequel to Dracula, but outside of that, it's not some IP mess that we've been dealing with all this, comic book movies and Star Wars and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff. It's not a part 10 of something. It's a simple, straightforward story. And funnily enough, I think that maybe, and I don't know if you guys will agree with me or not, I wonder if they didn't screw themselves by not pulling a Megan with this. And what I mean is maybe, just maybe, if they would have made it PG-13 and then just released an unrated version later, because outside of the gore factor, there's not too much in the movie outside of the scariness and the gore that really constitute it being rated R if you took out some of the F words and stuff. right?
Yeah,
Because
you're probably right there a little
it's
bit.
funny because walking out of the theater, I looked over and this guy was saying, "Man, I wished I'd have known that was R-rated." I'm like, "Oh, you didn't know it was R-rated?" And I didn't look until I
Yeah,
seen,
they
"Oh, he's
didn't.
got his kid with him." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And his kid's like 8, 9 years older. But he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "I got my kid with me. I didn't know it was rated R." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's rated R." It's like, well, it could have been worse though, right? Like, so I was looking at it from that perspective. The kid acted like he had a great time, obviously. You know, like,
Mm.
I'm sure he knows he wasn't supposed to see it in the first place, something like that. But no, I mean, I wonder if that would have helped the box office. But the other problem is they went and brought it out amongst 2 or 3 other
Yeah,
horror films.
weird.
Yeah, it
Like,
was
Weird time
why
to
would you
release it.
do that?
a
Um,
deluge of horror, and we have
uh,
another one coming up.
Yeah,
yeah,
Evil Dead
especially the
Rise this
Russell
week.
Crowe one. Everybody knew that about that one. So like, I wish they had found a better way to market it, because I don't think the trailers are mismarketing the movie at all. Like the trailers
Mm.
pretty much give you what the movie is. Now I've seen some
Yeah.
people complain about the bug eating thing, and I'm like, look, you're looking way too politically into it. I get it. I understand
What?
why you would have that reaction, but
Well,
that is
you know,
part of the original character.
What?
You
No,
know,
sorry. There's people are thinking that's political. How?
yeah,
yes.
because it eats the bugs
How?
house, dude.
Yeah, but no,
I'm
but
just,
it's core. That's what.
I
That,
know.
sure. But again, people will look at that and they're going to see politics in it. Again, people are looking for ghosts now, or they're reacting to ghosts, things that are in
And I
stuff that isn't
understand, but
really there.
again, I can reassure you that that's not part of the game. Same thing with, there was people who were worried about watching, Renfield and Dracula being cucked. I'm like, they don't nerf Dracula in any way. He
no,
is the
no.
villain of the piece, clearly. And Renfield, the whole story is about him becoming a man, right? And
Yes.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
with you, Nate. Like, there's only 2 gripes I had with the film, and
Mm.
one of them had to do with Aquafina, but not with her character. It just had to do with a moment that happens in the movie, and you're kind of like, why did they do that? But if they didn't do that, I guess it would have added another 10 minutes to the movie. So fuck it, I'm gonna
Mm.
just let that one slide. The other one has to do with the history of the character Renfield, and I'm like, why did they
Mm.
add that to his character? Because that is not part of the original story.
You talking about the backstory of the
Yeah.
Yeah, so
lawyer,
not
his
to get
wife,
into,
his
yeah,
family, and
because
stuff like that.
he was supposed to be getting married in Dracula. He wasn't married yet. They didn't have no
Yeah.
kids. Like, that was the
Yeah.
whole
So.
point. So that, but I might be able to let that one slide, because this movie kind of plays it like the universal Dracula exists. Like, everybody knows who Dracula is, right?
Mm.
So it's like, okay, so maybe that's the way it is the universal Dracula film is, quote unquote, the movie version of these 2 real guys. So I'm like, okay, I can accept that. And they just left out the fact that he had the kid
Mm.
and wife. But like, to me, I'm still like, I don't know if you needed that necessarily, because it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, they don't really do anything with it necessarily.
And they
Well,
really,
so-
and they really
I'll
didn't.
say this. I think that it may have gone somewhere. It's an hour and a half, isn't it?
We
Yeah.
cut it.
Think about if this movie was, say, 20 minutes longer. Maybe it did go somewhere. Maybe it's been edited out. I don't
You
know.
want to know why? You want to know what I thought it was going to be, Nate? I
What?
thought he was going to find out that what's his face's mom, the chick who's really running the whole,
Mm.
Right.
that was going to be his great granddaughter, or his, yeah, like his great granddaughter, whatever it would factor out math wise.
Yeah. Well, I wondered.
But
I
then we
wondered whether
find
they
out
were-
what their fate was, so it was like, I don't want to get into that whole thing. So like,
Yeah.
It just, some of the storytelling vehicle, the storytelling vehicle that you're referring to early on in the film to give us that insight was never used again. Because I was thinking it was going to have a smattering of that throughout, like some, whatever to explain motivations, but instead they went entirely another direction. So I'm not even sure that they even needed that. They could have probably left that on the cutting room floor.
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm getting at, is like, it just didn't really pay off in any way.
Well, I guess
certain other things did, but that just didn't seem to.
I guess maybe there was going to be a little bit more of it with respect to Dracula's interaction with Renfield and the sort of motivation for Renfield choosing to be with him, and then the sort of guilt tripping nature and things like that. They may have written a few more deeper scenes of the movie, because when Dracula's in the apartment, and sort of reveals all of that element to him, and Renfield starts to feel guilty and stuff like this. Maybe there was a few more layers of that involved as well. But
you're probably right. I'm sure Dracula had something to also do with their fate. and that may have played more into it. And they might have just cut some of those things out because they were trying to keep it a little bit more lighter nature. Because there is a light natureness. I don't know how to put it. Like there is a lighter element to this film to where that's where I think it could have played as a PG-13 film, no problem.
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, that absent some of the gore, you know,
well, and the bad guy does use the F word, I think, pretty flippantly. But like outside of that, like
wow, I mean, who enjoyed like the Mortal Kombat-esque death blow at the end?
Oh, I love every bit of this.
The X-ray cross section.
That was amazing, and that made me laugh so hard. And Ben Schwartz is great in this movie. Like, I mean, I thought, okay, what are they going with this character? And I kind of predicted it. So if it wasn't for the fact that I actually liked his character, I probably wouldn't have liked that element, because I'm like, okay, I can see where this is going now, like real quick. But like, again, it's hard to not spoil the movie because there's nothing to really truly spoil about it.
There isn't.
It's a pretty straightforward, kind of comedy horror, really.
Yeah. Tom, I'm so glad you went to see it, and I'm so glad you liked it, because again, ladies and gents, this, I think I don't want to put words in your mouth, Tom, but I'll try to correct it from my own knowledge of the movie and what I think of it as well. I think Tom was a little bit too quick to throw out the word Morbius there as a comparison.
No, I'm not.
Morbius is unintentionally funny, right? They obviously did try to make a serious movie there. It's unintentionally hilariously bad. Renfield is intentionally a very good, funny horror movie.
But it's not going to be for everybody, though.
No, 100% not. But I think what could you compare it to, though? To
a lot of people have been comparing it to Deadpool, actually.
Do you think? I think a bit too many witticisms.
Kind of more so with the violence, the level of gore, and how the absurdity of it plays into the nature of the film. I think that's where they're getting it from, probably more so. And it does kind of have a superhero-y element to it, which maybe is what was worked against it. That might have been another thing that worked against it, is that it had that kind of basis for the storyline. Because they don't even really give you, this is one thing, like, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but there is kind of one surprise you don't necessarily get out of the trailers, that when you get into the film, you realize, oh, so that's what he's doing. Because at first, he doesn't just jump into the superhero thing. It kind of gradually moves up into it. And that's what I love about the film, is it hits the ground running, but it also doesn't, it doesn't like pretend to, how do I put this?
It still develops stuff.
It does a very good job of developing where you are, why Renfield is doing what he's doing, where Dracula is in his position, where all these other people are in his life. Even the Awkwafina character, I didn't mind. I like understood the connections there. And I heard, what you had said before, like, yeah, I agree. You didn't really necessarily need it per se, but you also needed something to connect him to the modern world.
Exactly. There had to be a connective tissue there. And that as the through line, I didn't hate either, it's one of those things that you go like, and
they don't overdo the romance element either, right? Like they don't force it, but at the same time, it's still there enough to where you could see these two awkward individuals getting together.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you liked it. I had the best time with this movie. Would you watch it again?
Smile on my face hell yeah. Smile on my face from beginning to end. And this is going off what Culture
said. Look at Culture's face.
I can't believe that it's made no money, because like Culture, I ran into the issue, Nate. The first 2 theaters I checked that were actually reserve seating, I couldn't get a decent seat. Now, they weren't full, but they were fairly filled up, and I couldn't get a decent seat. So I finally went to a theater where it was first come, first serve, and got there early. But even that theater filled up pretty well. So I've heard. Yeah, I don't understand where this movie's not making any money. It doesn't compute.
Well, I've heard that it's in America specifically, it's been put on senior lists and also child lists in terms of its ticket pricing level. So I don't know whether you had that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, but that's dumb. This movie, I don't necessarily think it's a bad decision what they did releasing it when they have done, because You think like you know, Evil Dead Rise, for instance, releases on Friday. Yeah, it's a pretty hard, heavy horror movie. That one is not played for laughs in any way, shape, or form. But that sort of gets people in the mood for a bit of horror and a bit of gore. And then you look at, oh yeah, this one on the flip side, counter programming. It's not necessarily a bad move, but I also think that they haven't actually marketed the film as well as they could have done. You know, the trailer itself gives you the movie pretty well, but I've not seen the trailer that much. You know, I've not seen them use the trailer as an advert. Have you? Because I've not seen it, and I've been doing search engines, so cookies would pick up on it. It would put it in front of me,
I'm
and it's
curious.
not.
I'm curious what they did spend on P&A for this, because I think you're right. I have not seen a ton of advertisements for it. In fact, when I posted the other night who saw Renfield, there was a good third of those posts underneath my post that were like, what is this? What are you talking about? What is that? Like, they had no idea what the hell it was. And now Paul Chatto and Script Doctor seem to believe that maybe Dracula's kind of out of the zeitgeist now. I don't know about that.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I think the people that were interested in this and what kept them away was a small bit of that political shit we just talked about before. But the main thing I think that people were worried about was it being a movie that was going to nerf not only Dracula, but Nicolas Cage through doing that. And they weren't so sure about the Renfield character. And that's the thing is, I think people need to understand that that's the whole plot of the film is Renfield learning to become his own man, right? Like, so it's not about a cuck or anything like that or whatever other things that have been thrown at the movie. And I get it. I know where, you know, culture said, you know, people are seeing ghosts, and it's totally understandable. I have in many cases, but I've also been one of those that points out, like, sometimes it's like, you know, the only thing that really makes this woke is like one line, one stupid line, you know, or anything remotely close to it. And I'm not even referring to Mario Brothers in this case. It's been other things.
Dracula and Renfield are not nerfed. They are both absolutely badass, like absolutely badass.
Oh yeah, they're the powers are put on display in this film are
you will see Renfield do things that you will have seen or have wanted to have seen in, say, the gore factor and brutality level of like The Boys on Amazon Prime. Like it is that gory and it is that brutal.
Somebody
at one point, and I said in my review. I said in my review at one point, Renfield inadvertently rips a guy's arms off and then begins using them as nunchucks to murder people with, and then throws them at two people, killing them because the ends of the arms, the bones, go through the bodies, these two people, and then impales them on a wall and a door. It is, and then he snatches some guy's entire face off.
Yeah,
that was great.
Which was absolutely hilarious. So good. It's so funny. So no, like if you know, not to go too much into this, but if you want to have a really good fun time at the theater, you want to see Nicolas Cage, you know, not actually play Nicolas Cage and actually act and do a good performance, because his Dracula he's really good in this.
Yeah.
Like I think he's actually really good.
It is one of his best performances, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, and he's having so much fun with it. You must watch this movie. I'd be so surprised if you're disappointed having watched this movie. You know, I understand the complaints, but as a sweeping generalization, I think most people have a really good time with it.
I think if you've seen the trailers, unlike Cocaine Bear, it'll probably deliver more.
It's much funnier than Cocaine Bear. I like Cocaine Bear.
What were you going to say, Culture?
Nothing.
You like Cocaine Bear more, and that's fair.
No. I like this movie. I like this movie better than Cocaine Bear. I've actually said that. I think I said that the other night when we were hanging out talking about it.
Okay,
but look, it's dumb fun. Okay, sorry, it's a dumb fun.
But it has a very sweet kind of message to it, and God, it's really weird talking about. You know what else it reminds me of? Kind of is like when you try to explain Revenge of the Nerds to somebody.
Oh yeah,
because Revenge of the Nerds is this R-rated sex comedy, but yet you can watch it with your grandma and not be embarrassed. Why? Because it has this sweet undertone to it. And that's what this has, right? Because Renfield is just a sweet guy and you feel sorry for him like you're supposed to. You empathize with him. You know the things that he's doing are wrong, and you kind of get, you know, that he knows this, right? So like it's and he, you know, the whole playing with, and I know that's another thing that might turn some people off, is the whole idea that, you know, he has the sessions, right, with the group. Like that's the heart of the movie. That's the heart of the movie.
That's so funny as well. It's so good.
Shit.
It's so good.
It is. It does have a good background. I mean, it plays on a lot of levels. It is a more complex vampire film than almost any that you've ever seen. Let's just put it that way, because it does play.
Well, that's what I love is his relationship with all the characters, right? Like each of these characters, he has like a relationship with, not just the Aquafina character, right? Like, you know, and just like I said, I don't want to spoil too much because, like I said, you start to realize once you get in the movie, like the trailer presents you with an idea, and you're like, okay, this is actually really getting into this idea and diving into it, and it's doing. And the reason I brought up Cocaine Bear is because they're not really comparable, other than, you know, comedy horror aspect of it. But what Cocaine Bear didn't do, what this film did do, was take the concept, run with it, and I feel like there was really no stone unturned, right? Like there was really not much else. There was only like maybe one thing I would have done maybe a little differently. Like I was like, okay, they kind of set up this idea that he eats bugs and smaller creatures, which is from the original movie, right? That was established as that Renfield, you know, that was his, you know, that's what he got from Master, is he got powers from that way. And what they should have done is like pay that off a little bit differently at the end. They do something with it, but not exactly what I was hoping they would do. And I don't want to spoil it for nobody, but it's like, you know, because they kind of set it up to a point where it's like, you know, taking away his power, but what would happen to you, you know, reaching your maximum power. They didn't really show that per se ish. They kind of did, but they kind of didn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was still another level, I think, there that we didn't get to see. But no, other than that, there's not much I would do differently in the film.
Agreed. Well, good. Let's get us some super chats now, because we got some that dropped in. So again, if you want to support the show, you want to get your 2 cents in, figuratively, literally, drop in the super chat, super stickers. Great way to you know, get us to talk about your question and sort of contribute to the show as well. Tom Workins sent a 99-cent super sticker, so thank you so much, my dude. I just sort of scrolled them back, so I got to scroll through them all, but thank you. Al Humphreys for £5 says, all right, Mr. H, I watched Renfield yesterday. How good was that? I'm so glad you managed to get out and watch it, Al. And again, Al is British, so obviously, you know, it's interesting to see, you know, the sort of nationalities of who really likes it or not. And I think it's pretty safe to say as well now, like it's not necessarily just a British, you know, an American split. I think, you know, I think most people, you know, if you watch the trailer and you're like, oh yeah, this looks all right, I think you'll have a good time with it. You know, dumb, silly, good fun. Yeah.
And I said the other scene I had an issue with in the background here. I didn't want to say it out loud because it has plausible spoilers. So, yeah. But I give it a pass.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me scroll back down through all of this. We got from Paulus Plain, a Norwegian kroner. Said Nate H, Culture Casino, Tom, no. Happy birthday, Andre. The multiverse is given to writers who cannot write. The multiverse characters can be compelling and good in any universe. Yeah, I mean, happy birthday, Andre. Tom, you're terrible. You didn't send me an invite before, so well done.
I sent it to you this morning. Well, my morning. Yeah, I did. Look up in your thing. Yeah, I totally did.
I promise you didn't.
It says right here, sorry for short notice, but we are celebrating Andre's birthday. Hope you can stop in. And this was at noon my time.
Oh, I didn't get a notification for that, mate.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
Scroll back up. Yeah, look.
Yeah, no. I stand corrected.
Yeah, it was 2 hours before I asked if there was a show today, because I was like, I didn't hear from you. So I was like, oh, is there even a show today?
I stand corrected. That never came through on my phone. That's really annoying.
That's why I was curious why you didn't at least just hop in at the very end there. But like, it's like,
no, I would have
done. He's busy.
Well, I would have done. That's why my reply, I was like, oh, I would have done late. I would have done earlier. I was like, you fucking didn't send me.
Yeah, no, I totally did. Like, I know it was last minute for everybody, kind of, but like, yeah, I sent them out about a half hour before we went live.
100%. That time I would have been able to. That's so annoying.
Yeah, Twitter does that. Sometimes you got to refresh too, which sucks.
No. So on my phone, just all the push notifications come through, don't they? But yeah. Anyway, never mind. I stand corrected. Yeah. So we actually have something to talk about with respect to Marvel and its writers, but we'll get to that with momentum. But thank you so much for the super chat, my dude. But we will cover that a little bit more in depth, I can assure you. And Sean Sheridan sent a €1. I think that was supposed to be a super sticker, but nothing came.
It wasn't anything. It was just a €1.
Yeah, it might have been that Google deleted it as well. They do have a habit doing that. Tom working for $2 says arms as nunchucks, mate. It was truly special. It was so good. Alan B for £2 says Bang Brothers world famous fake taxi yeehaw cowboy. Well, thanks for the £2. Appreciate it. It's all about a bunch of pornos, I think.
Oh,
I'm pretty certain they're pornographic materials. Right, Nick, how you doing, good sir? You dropping in there, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I've been listening. Well, I've been getting some work stuff straightened out.
Good. Nice.
I actually could have came in like 10 or 15 minutes ago, but I was letting you guys finish up with the Renfield talk since I hadn't seen it yet.
I do appreciate that. Yeah. I would recommend going to watch it. Put it that way. I would recommend going to watch it.
I still haven't seen John Wick 4 or Mario.
Okay, you have to. Okay, you have to see John Wick 4 and you have to see Mario. What is wrong with you, Nick?
It comes down. It comes down to time.
Okay,
for me, I mean, literally, I work from 3 in the afternoon till midnight, Monday through Friday. Then we have our Saturday night stream.
Yeah.
Sunday,
sorry, what show stream? You might say.
Well, Saturday night's the main show. We'll do the chill
on that
one. The week. Yeah. It's a little bit more structured, but Sundays is really my only day, and on Sundays I'm normally doing like house stuff, yard stuff, getting laundry done, cleaning, all that sort of stuff that I didn't have time to do throughout the week. So it's just hard for me to get to the theater.
Well, you're missing out. You are missing out at the moment.
You need Tom and I to host your show again so that you can go to the movie.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm
actually not
John Wick though. That's like 3 hours long. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to be there this Saturday because I'll be at Retropalooza in Houston. I'll actually be hanging out in Valiant Renegade on Thursday on my way. I'm going to stop and just drive halfway. Yep. I'll miss this Thursday.
That sucks because it'll be the finale of Mandalorian.
I know.
Disappointed in you, mate.
I mean, I could, if I get to the hotel in Houston in time and get my laptop set up, I actually could possibly still join.
Well, it is the early stream. Remember, it starts 2 hours.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, I might make it.
Okay, try. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it. If I get up and leave early enough, I can get to the hotel in Louisiana with enough time to jump in. I might miss like the first 30 minutes if you guys want to push that topic off towards the end. But I'll shoot you a DM on Twitter and let you know.
Let me know. Yeah. So we'll move on to our next topic. Ladies and gents, again, if you want to join in, super chats, super stickers, good way of doing it. Hit that thumbs up button. And please, everyone who is here on the panel, you'll find links to their channels down below in the description box. Please do check them out. If you like their input, you like, what they're saying, head on over to their channels, check them out and hit subscribe. And also hit subscribe on the second channel, the Mistakes Reviews Live Archives. This is the podcast clip channel. It's actually doing really well. We're at 10,200 subscribers now. So thank you so much. I wanted to hit 10,000 before the end of the year. We're already there. Let's try and push it to 15,000. That'd be epic. Anyway, next topic. It's going from bad to worse for Jonathan Majors.
Oh,
yeah.
Now,
good for him.
This is really bad because it's not just his management that's left him, it's also his PR firm has left him. Now, his PR firm is what has, pushed him to the forefront of everyone's lips recently. He's everywhere, and that's because he's got a good PR firm, good management as well, but good PR firm. That's why he's been snapped up by basically every single movie, and essentially all of them have quietly flopped recently as well. They're not done particularly well. But this is huge. This is not a small thing. This will be essentially him now, what I would say, blacklisted. When a management company drops an actor, it's a pretty big thing. It's different if an actor leaves a management company because they try to go off to greener pastures. it's generally the reception of that's slightly different within Hollywood circles, because it's thought that the management isn't working for them, the percentages aren't working out. It's it's not a mutually beneficial relationship. But if a management company just goes, see you later, it's not good. It's really bad. It's really bad. And then to top it off, his PR firm has binned him off as well. That's quite huge. Now, the other part of it is that he wasn't. He was working with Valentino, and they mutually agreed that the actor would not be attending the Met Gala as one of its guests.
Yeah.
And that's not a massive part, but it's still another part, is that companies are distancing themselves from this individual for PR reasons.
But the hot shits always get that Met invite through some designer.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, part of this is that apparently Marvel haven't spoken to him. They haven't spoken to him. Allegedly, we don't know if that is the case. Of course, Deadline have learned, and this is the interesting thing as well, I think, is that the departure was due to issues surrounding the actor's personal behavior. So it's not necessarily even they broad stroked it. It's just the actor's personal behavior. They're not even relating it down straight to that's the situation. That's
if I can real quick jump back to the whole Marvel hasn't talked to him thing, because I don't remember if I mentioned it on here yet, but I had that scoop last week that he was out of the MCU 6 days ago. This is what I was told, and now this happens. Now they're saying that, but I think it's more like the other way around. I think he got dumped by the MCU, then his management and other people dumped him.
Because
I heard it from two sources.
Well, yeah, because
he was out. Yeah.
What's 10% of zero? Zero.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, and it again. I mean, if his behavior,
they're going to say that, but I don't believe that. I don't believe it for 1 minute. Sorry, Culture, you were about to say.
No, I was just agreeing with you, dude. That's it. Yeah. No, I
always find it weird that all these companies are so quick to jump off the train before anything's come out. There's been a court case. It goes back to, here in the U.S., it's supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. And nowadays it's guilty till proven innocent. We saw the same thing with Johnny Depp. Now, I have no idea if any of these allegations are true with him or anything. But, I mean, you would think that people should at least wait till some of the evidence and facts come out.
Well, so the thing is that some evidence has come out, and it doesn't actually look particularly great for him. And they even note it in this article, right? And some of it doesn't look great, in fairness. So at the time, his attorney says the evidence includes video footage from the vehicle where the episode took place, witness testimony from the driver and others who both saw and heard the episode, and most importantly, 2 written statements from the woman recanting the allegations. Now, the video evidence hasn't come to light, and if there was video evidence, the DA would have seen it. But there's conflicting reports on where this took place. Apparently, it was in an apartment. Now, then it's in a vehicle as well. So it's a pretty big conflicting thing. The DA is still pressing charges, though, right? So he is in court on May 8th, days after Guardians of the Galaxy is released. He faces multiple counts of harassment and assault from New York City District Attorney. So they're still going ahead with it. And I think it's really unfortunate is that, I did the video on this earlier. And it's really unfortunate is that people coming through are going, because I said, look, district attorneys are very politically minded, it's a stepping stone for them. And the DA, from an unbiased perspective, we've not seen the evidence. The DA has. The DA surely has seen enough where he thinks that there can be a conviction, in place. But comments coming through are like the DA's an Uncle Tom, very racist comments, very derogatory, racist focused comments saying the DA's an Uncle Tom. He just wants to get this man down, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, man, like that is really bad. Like that's not appropriate to say anywhere, like it's not cool. We don't have any actual evidence of, this sort of bias and this sort of focus and this sort of mindset for the DA to sort of, ascribe to him. So it seems a bit strange. What we do know, is that what was released didn't look good. There was a bunch of text messages that were released where the victim literally says they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. I mean, that doesn't look good.
No.
That was text messages that were released. It literally is from the victim saying we had a fight and there's injuries on me and they arrested you because they saw that. It doesn't matter whether, the individual is saying, I'm sorry, this is happening to you and things. That's generally textbook victim, mentality anyway. But yeah, so I mean, the short of it is that, he's been binned off, and people like to draw the comparison to Johnny Depp. I think there's a difference. There is a difference with Johnny Depp. So Johnny Depp was never formally charged with anything. Johnny Depp was never, taken to court for anything. What we saw further down the line is different. What we saw with him taking this, I think it was the Sun, wasn't it, to court in the UK, that was different. But when accusations came out and he was binned off, well, that's accusations, and he was binned off just from, accusatory statements. The thing about this is not just accusations, is that, Jonathan Majors is facing criminal charges, right? Like it's not, he's literally going to be appearing in court. So it's not exactly the same comparison. A better comparison would be Ezra Miller, but it's a different company, and so they're dealing with it differently. And I've been on the record and said it straight away, is that I'm amazed he's still got a job. Like, we've literally seen a video of Ezra Miller choking a woman in Iceland during the filming of Fantastic Beasts. I mean, it's really fucking insane that he's still got a job, but that's a different company, so we can't realistically draw a comparison because they're handling it differently. Now, with Disney, we know that they're quick to abort actors who shine a bad light on them. Again, case in point, Johnny Depp, just from an accusation. This, he's literally going to court days after Guardians of the Galaxy is released. Now, what happens if things come out in court, during the opening week of Guardians of the Galaxy, or, literally its first opening week fully.
Week,
I mean, it won't look good, So anyway, I've rambled enough. Tom, what do you think then? What do you think of the latest of this? He's been binned off. I say this is a form of Hollywood blacklisting him. What do you think?
I'm starting to believe my scoop from last week that he is out of the MCU. This is generally an indicator, like Culture couldn't have put it any better than that. Basically, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Like, what good are you to your management and agents and all that kind of shit if you're not making any money? His military thing, the commercials that he was supposed to be in, that thing's been postponed and probably shit canned as well. No big surprise here. I feel like there is a bit of injustice in a sense that, it should be innocent until proven guilty. But at the same time, from a corporate standpoint, Disney and Marvel are businesses. And I can see where they're sitting here in a situation looking like, look, even if he's innocent of this whole thing, this is going to drag out through at least probably one of the next projects that comes out, whether it's, Loki or what have you.
Yep. He's in every, I think, all but one episode of
That's
Loki.
what I'm saying. So, like, we know that he shot Loki 2. They're probably getting to the point where something else is coming up, so they had to make a decision.
Yeah.
And whether it was the right one or wrong one, they probably won't know until this case is over. But you also pointed out the other stuff, Nate, before we've talked about on here, is that this isn't the only problem. As soon as this happened, unlike Johnny Depp, where everybody come out in, support of him, almost unanimously. I can't even think of one person besides Amber or one of her friends who was trying to say otherwise. As opposed to this, it's been complete silence and support for Majors. You have nothing but contempt coming out for him, and it's a bunch of, and I hated comparing it to, but it almost does feel like a Cosby Weinstein situation, not with the, the SA part of it, but so much more the just assault part of it, let's say. In the sense that where everybody's like, we all knew, everybody knew. Now finally somebody said something, so those kind of things, when you hear that in the history we've had with that kind of reaction, or Kevin Spacey, what have you, unfortunately, this is one of those things where you got to take it at an angle of where there's smoke, there's probably fire, and they don't want to be associated with this guy. And I don't blame them.
And again, DA, politically minded. It's unlike, they would have been privy to the evidence. They're still moving ahead. That would sink that guy's career instantly if there's no grounds to continue moving forwards for an actual, conviction. Like, that's his career gone, done. Not Jonathan Majors, the DA. So he must be pretty confident,
Well, and we talked about this on another show where we had a former police officer on, and he flat out said, these are kind of cases where they don't fuck around. Pardon my French, but they don't. They make sure their T's are crossed, their I's are dotted. And he even said that's probably why it took so long for charges to come forward, because they were really probably weighing the options of this whole thing, because they don't want to put themselves in a position where they clearly could be sued by a celebrity like that, or, make a mistake and allow a celebrity to get off when maybe there was actual assault involved here. Like, we got to take that into consideration too. So from all sides and angles of this, I think you're right. Like, to insist that the DA is just doing this for some political move.
There's no upside there.
Yeah, there's no upside for him, in a sense of, like, if this blows up in his face, that's his career.
Well, he's already got something blowing up in his face, but I hear you.
Is this Alvin Bragg prosecuting this?
It's his office. It's a Manhattan DA.
Oh, interesting.
Not sure who the lead is.
He's the one prosecuting Trump.
Yep. That office is involved in a lot of really weird cases at the moment, but that's neither here nor there. It's, as Tom alluded to, or actually came out and said, which is accurate. A.B. Allen and Tim Laconi or something. He's a stage actor, but A.B. Allen, they both came out immediately and went right after Jonathan Majors when this happened. So this guy is abusive. He has a history. Nikolai actually called him a sociopath and an abuser outright. It's just rough that, you end up with that. And there are a few other people, I believe, that came forward afterwards. It's some, similar things. And again, we haven't heard peep one after the first week from his attorney.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was like, steel-walling it, saying, well, we have this video, it's going to come out, it'll exonerate him, all this.
I was going to say, do you think maybe that's because she may have realized how stupid they made themselves look by claiming to have this exonerating video, and then when that evidence they did put out being the texts that we disseminated here,
oh, it looks so bad,
didn't help the situation for them. In fact, if anything, it confirmed the original report. So yeah, I don't know, Culture, if that's going to be a situation or not too. But
the thing that still bothers me is that, supposedly this lady recanted making two statements. What they actually held up as two statements recanting were her text messages that, again, as Mr. H pointed out, didn't look good. Those were not exonerating in any way. And we haven't heard anything else. And this is one of those cases that, the PR firm probably told everybody at the very beginning to shut up. And when that didn't happen, they went on their way. And then when you get fired off of your job and there's no money coming in, you don't really need a manager. And the management company is not going to work for free. So, because they only get paid when you get your check.
Yep. And like I said, when management drops an actor, that's generally a really bad sign. Yeah. Really, really bad sign.
And I hate it, especially if this turns out at the end of the day to be, hogwash, right?
It's crap all around, It's crap all around. If it's hogwash, it's crap. If he is an abuser, it's crap. it's a lose-lose situation. Like, you know, it's not good in any way, shape, or form. Because one is that a guy's an arsehole, and secondly is that a woman lied and condemned a guy to look like an arsehole. So, you know, it's a lose-lose situation. None of it's good. It's a total shit show, as I keep putting it in videos, because it is. It's not a good outcome regardless. Not a good outcome regardless. Nick, do you have anything else to sort of jump in there with, bud?
Not really. We'll just have to wait and see what comes out when the court case starts up. But I definitely think that his time in the MCU is probably over. I mean, if they would get rid of Gina Carano for a tweet, I mean, how are they then now gonna keep this guy around?
Yeah,
know?
I mean, they fired Johnny Depp and he didn't even have a job with them.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't even a Pirates movie in production or pre-production or anything like that, and they're just like, we distance ourselves from Johnny Depp. It's like, wasn't even making a movie with you. Like, what the hell?
Well, here's the weird thing. I mean, if Majors had come out as non-binary, he probably would have been safe, right? Nobody would have left him. It would have been a bad
defense.
Yeah, if it would have been a bad look if they left him.
Here's the other thing somebody pointed out too, where Ezra's a little different. Not to go even deeper down this stupid hole, but Ezra also has on his side, aside from his pronoun preferences and all that business, is he also has the mental disorder argument, and people will empathize with that. I don't think Jonathan Majors is going to be able to hide behind something like that.
No, definitely not.
No, not at all.
So that's the thing, is Ezra can come out and say, yeah, I had a mental fucking breakdown, and people will go, aw, and shit like that. So
he needs help.
He's needed help since he was 10.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's fun. I mean, he was put in the line of many casting directors way before he should have been. I mean, or at least in an unobserved way. But what's funny is the only normal performance I ever saw him in was when he was playing a kid in the TV show Royal Pains on USA Network way back when. But after that,
why can't celebrities just be like Nicolas Cage, where they just get too drunk in Las Vegas and show up in the lobby in their robe and no pants?
He just ends up getting married to people as well all the time.
Yeah, I've never heard of him really doing anything more than that. Just like doing stupid shit, but nothing like too out of
well, he did. Yeah. I don't know.
Just has a little too much fun.
Yeah. Well, you would, Vegas and stuff. Why not?
It's like, he's Nick fucking Cage.
I can't wait. I'm going to be in Vegas in a week.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm excited.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Lucky you. I wish I was going, man.
We need to get Nate and Andre down to Mexico and sneak them across the border.
I know.
Yeah, they're sitting there convoluting that plan.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be that hard. They look. I don't know. Well, they could sneak over the border and be fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure Nate has some super chats and other topics to go.
I do, yeah. Miss Zen for $2 says, meanwhile, Hollywood continues shilling for Ezra Miller.
True story.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a true story. Absolutely is. Yeah. Tom Worker for $2 says he's describing Napoleonic law. I don't know what we what were we talking about when you said that? Trying to remember. Trying to look through the comments.
I apologize.
Yeah. Thank you. All the same, though, my dude. We've got to scroll down again and again and again. We've got a new member, Lee Fusion Vision Robinson. So thank you so much for becoming a member. If you want to help out, again, memberships, super chats, super stickers, good way of doing it. Thank you so much for joining. And Paulus Plain for 100 Norwegian kroner says the Jonathan Majors US Army ad was considered a good ad by former US Marine Jameson's Travels YouTuber. And I agree, as a historical and political interest civilian. Thank you, Mr. H.
Yeah, I thought
I never actually saw the ad.
Oh, I thought it was a great ad. I 100% agree. It was an excellent. Yeah. Oh, you didn't see it?
A good ad.
It was wonderful. He did voiceover narration. He walked down like a series of military vehicles on a runway and so on and so forth. He did a really good job. It was very inspirational, talking about the historical background of the military here in the United States. It was well done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shame.
Check that out.
Shame. Miss Zen has been a member for 15 months as well. So thank you so much. It's a great milestone. Do appreciate it. So from one sort of Marvel-ish shit show to another Marvel shit show. I did a report on this, but let's talk about it.
Oy.
Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is reportedly changing his approach to hiring directors, as if that's going to make a difference.
Yeah,
For goodness sake.
the directors is not the problem.
It's not the problem at all. I mean, this is such garbage nonsense. So this comes to us from Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast. He's been pretty good with his scoops.
You've been nailing it lately. Yeah.
So Feige's plan is to adjust his hiring strategy by turning to already established filmmakers and creatives. Feige does want to hire more established talent behind the camera, suggesting the idea is to put future movies in the hands of more experienced directors. One, just as an FYI, that is inadvertently a backhanded statement to the people you do have working for you by saying that they're inexperienced and they're shit.
Yeah, they suck. These
That
are
is
the people
literally
they suck.
that is literally what you're saying already, which is terrible. It's an indictment of your own hiring practices. But secondly, this is not going to fix it. This is not going to change anything because the structures in place surrounding it, like Victoria Alonso was not the reason Marvel's CGI was bad, right?
Not the reason, but she didn't help.
Yeah,
No.
I was going to say this.
No, but she wasn't the reason it was bad because it was bad before she took the role of president of CGI and visual effects, right? They've been shit for ages. Yeah, they were. They were shit since fucking Endgame. Absolute garbage. Hulkbuster. I say it every single time. Absolute wank. Yes. Did it potentially get worse under her? Yeah, maybe. But is she the root cause? No. Are the directors the root cause of the issue? No. You know, you can't sit there and blame the directors because inherently the structure of a Marvel film is such that they've been on a massive decline for ages. I mean, you've got like the Marvels is the perfect example of everything that's going bad with Marvel and the MCU. You got this garbage shit humor, right? You got Rick and Morty writers, literally hiring Rick and Morty writers to deliver this wank stain humor, this utter garbage crap travesty. You've got, you know, unlikable characters being pushed to the forefront. They've already told us that that's what they're looking to do moving forwards more and more. A director's not going to change that. Director doesn't have the power to do any of that. Not only this, the most hilarious part of this entire report is the fact that Marvel thinks good established directors are going to want to work for them, knowing full well what Marvel does as a structured business to its directors.
Yep.
Can I say without disagreeing with a single thing you just said?
Yeah.
I think what Feige is trying to say or do is get back to formula, to steal a quote from the Green
previous
Goblin.
formula then.
Yeah, because if you think about it, what was Marvel Universe built on? You had Jon Favreau, you had Joe Johnston, you had what's his face who directed Kenneth Branagh, like all, and then you had even though he's not, you know, kind of persona non grata, Whedon directing the first Avengers film. So that first batch of films was handled by established talent.
Yeah,
right?
True.
And what they've done is they've pushed all the established talent to the side to get more malleable talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't that established talent weren't saddled with terrible characters. Right?
Yeah.
And they weren't saddled with filmmaking by committee.
Yeah.
And I mean, and again, it comes down to what you know Nate was saying. Their internal structure is antithetical to successful filmmaking at this point in time.
And honestly, I think it's in Feige's best interest not to be basically being a fucking sorry, pardon my French, but satellite parent or whatever it's called over the entire production, nitpicking on every little thing, micromanaging every little thing. Because guess what? You can get a good product out of a decent director. That's, I think, what they're missing here.
Well, that's another part of the report, right? Is that they say this. So, however, this lines up with what Deadline's Justin Kroll said last year about the hunt for Fantastic Four's Helmer. Kevin Feige doesn't want to oversee the entire shoot. And after not having to worry about that with Sam Raimi, he's very game for the same outcome with this shoot. And that's why he hired Matt Shakman to direct Fantastic Four, who is a trusted talent because he did WandaVision. Now, there's a few things to say there. WandaVision was a success for Disney because it was the first Marvel Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else was a steep decline from there because people realized what they were getting.
Yeah.
Secondly, they referenced Sam Raimi as the reason why. I mean, Doctor Strange film
that was work
fucking
for
terrible.
hire under Raimi. Let's
that
be
was
real.
terrible. That was a terrible fucking
I don't
film.
blame Raimi though. He just shot what they told him to shoot. Let's be real.
Exactly. And they only. I mean, what are you trying to sell it on his name? Is that what they're going to do now? They're going to sell the movies on the name of the director. They're going to be like, look, can we just pay you a little bit more just to use your name, but just follow the formula? Maybe that's what they're going to do.
I don't know. I don't think, and look, that's not. There's no upside there. The Russo brothers walked away from this. This
the Russo brothers are saying, yeah, we'll work for DC if you want. If you pay us, we'll work for DC. So they're more than happy just to fuck Marvel off
yeah, but they said they were not going to go back to Marvel. I mean,
exactly. That's what I mean.
Well, I think they kind of blew the lid off of a lot of that. They basically were the ones who kind of let us know what was going on there.
I have, like I said, I have little faith that this will change anything, because yes, you're no longer casting directors, but you're still saddling these experienced people with these unlikable, unlovable, uncared for.
Why do you think James Gunn is almost kind of subtly, basically celebrating he's finally getting the fuck out of there?
Well, we have
in a weird way.
Yeah. We have a story. We have a story, I think, to cover on that, don't we, Nate?
We do, but it's not so. Absolutely, we do, and we'll get
I apologize for my language today, by the way.
No, you're fine.
No, it's all right. It's. I will say this as well, right? Like, is that the whole? It's fascinating that people run with this as a story as if it's positive, because the director doesn't mean anything. You've still got shit writers writing a shit story, writing a shit movie, handing in terrible scripts to people to work with. You know, you can't polish a turd, or you can only polish a turd so much. A good director cannot turn a terrible script into a great film. They just can't. And so, you know, Kevin Feige being like, well, we're trying to get some good directors. It's like, so what about all the writing teams that you've got that you pay peanuts for? You know, what are you going to do about them? Are you overhauling them?
I think there's two other sides of that, because yes, a good director can turn a shit script into a decent film, but they have to be a very talented fucking director. And they usually have to be a very talented, not just director, but writer as well. And then the other side of that, though, a good director can also fuck up a decent script too, though.
But they have to work for a studio. The director has to work for a studio that would allow them to change the script.
That's the key.
Do that.
Yep, that's what I was just getting her to say.
And I think what's his face, who was supposed to do Ant-Man originally, was ground zero for this.
Well, the guy
his name.
Oh, you're talking about fucking.
You know who I mean?
God. Yeah,
because he was supposed to direct Ant-Man, and he ended up backing out, and they still used part of his story. Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright, yeah.
And he basically said, you know, I could not fit in their little box in so many words.
Yeah.
And that's where he's going to butt heads with some of these directors. And I'm hoping, this is just me hoping, that Feige is coming around and realizing where he fucked up. And he will go, okay, I'm going to listen to these guys now, because these guys know what they're talking about. The Russos delivered you two of the biggest films of all freaking time, and you turn them away from you. Like, they have gone to the point where they've said in so many words, they're never going to work for Marvel again because of the crap they had to deal with. And I'm sure this is going to start happening with a lot of other directors where they're just like, I don't want to work for you. It's the same thing with Star Wars. We hear the same thing there. Why would I want to go in and develop a Star Wars project that's never going to happen? How many times have we heard that, Nick?
No, tons of times. And I think Favreau's more than likely probably on his way out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's patently obvious now.
Yeah.
It's patently obvious, especially where they essentially symbolically murdered his character in The Mandalorian anyway. So he's just like, yeah,
I think that Andre is right. I think that was his I tried moment.
Yeah.
That was his saying, I tried, because he got killed by those same guards that are guarding Palpatine, wasn't he?
Yeah. The Praetorian
I think there's
Guard.
some symbolism in there.
And then you had the little Babu Frick character saying like I'm out, motherfucker. You know,
Yeah, people are thinking that's what he's saying. I don't know. I heard it and I'm like, oh, it does sound like that's what he's saying. I mean,
it's like
it's kind of like the whole Donald Duck and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Would you be surprised if he just quietly wasn't there for anything else?
Well, he's not directing the final movie. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
no, we gave that baloney fake Oni dude.
I think he'll be on board as listed as a producer. He will probably contribute and I'm doing quotes right now in writing, because I don't even think he's really contributing all that much to the writing of this season. He's on there, but I think he's writing it about like he did Boba Fett, where he just wrote down some ideas and threw them at Robert Rodriguez and said, "Here you go."
Yeah, here's an outline. Fill in the blanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here, figure out these 19 minutes I didn't write.
Yeah.
Well, again, not to get too off topic from the the Marvel stuff, but no. I mean, it's perfect. That is it's easy to segue off because that's a Disney Marvel issue, and you are losing good directors, and they have done consistently. And how many big time, well respected, legendary directors have since come out and criticized superhero movies as well as Marvel in general?
Yeah,
so many of them. So I can't see this plan from Kevin Feige. I mean, it's desperation in my head. That's all it screams to me. When you've got people like Sharmina Obaid-Chinoy as your rising star, like an activist dickhead. Those are the people that you want to direct your films. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be ashamed of the company I work for if that is literally scraping the bottom of the barrel. These people have done nothing. They're activists for a living.
Right, so documentarian,
so it's not going to go well. This is not going to work. It's desperation, and it won't change anything anyway.
Yeah, this is like taking a car into the shop for engine problems, and you're saying I need to get the tires changed. It's just not going to work. But it almost seems like it almost seems like Marvel got so big and so popular that basically they're like, man, we can just do whatever we want to now. Like, people are going to come watch.
Yeah.
I think they've learned that that's not the case, though, after the last couple movies. And that's where I'm going to say, well,
I don't know how they couldn't, but it seems like they're continuing in the same downward spiral direction.
Well, I would normally say you can't train an old dog new tricks, but what if they're the old tricks, right? Like, that's the only reason I'll give Feige the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying he's going to change anything. I'm not saying anything's going to get better. I'm just saying the potential is there if he brings in decent directors and he doesn't handcuff them and he lets them explore this shit.
They're already handcuffed. They're saddled with these garbage characters.
Well, you have a few characters that aren't garbage culture. You've got the Fantastic Four, you got the X-Men, you've got some other stuff.
Oh, no. Calm down. No, they're not going to be the X-Men. They're going to be the X-them. You're not going to get a traditional version of the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family. You are going to be saddled with you're going to be saddled with
the potential's there.
You're going to be saddled with the equivalent of all new, all different A-Force bullshit. It's going to be all feminists all the time. Sorry, it's the way it is. It's not going to get better. They are incapable of it. They're tripling, quadrupling down, quintupling down on this narrative crap that the audience is continually rejecting, and they are having such staggering diminishing returns for each of these films. And the only reason that you ended up with Mom actually doing okay, although still not $1 billion, was because it was on the heels of Spider-Man. Tom, and you've been one of those people to point out that Spider-Man No Way Home was the reason that Mom did halfway decent. So it's
Multiverse of Madness for everyone wondering.
Sorry. Yeah.
Wasn't Victoria Alonso the one that said that the X-Men name's outdated and it needs to be changed?
Yeah.
They fired her. But maybe they're figuring it out. Who knows?
No, because they fired Ike Perlmutter as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's not. Like, come on. And they rehired Bob Iger.
One step forward, two steps back.
Oh no! The hiring Iger was probably bringing Iger back in was just a terrible decision. But again, it was because of the level of exposure they were going to have to a lot of political fallout. Which guess what?
Well,
it didn't matter.
Now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway,
End.
right. Way
Yeah.
off topic. Anyway, ladies and gents, you want to join in super chats? We've got one here from Tom Working for $2. Says guilty until proven innocent. Ahem, my bad. That's what he meant.
Oh
I
yeah,
see.
Napoleon.
I see. I see. Yes. Do
Yeah,
appreciate it,
actually,
guys.
here in the States, we actually have a state that still operates under Napoleonic code. It's Louisiana.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break from DC, Marvel, Star Wars, just briefly. Okay. Oh, we got a super chat actually here from Mexican Iron Man. Says
Hey.
for $9.99 says I love it when Culture Casino does his rent and is all black pilled. I love it. Join me, my brother. Join me to the dark side, Darth Casino.
Yeah, I'm there, Mikey. I am there, dude.
Oh dear! Thanks for the super chat,
Yeah,
dude.
thank you,
Appreciate it.
Mikey.
So we're gonna take a small break from the sort of comic book superhero universe. We do have to
Good.
sort of dive back into that as well. But what we're going to be talking about now is similar-ish anyway, and it's about Disney's decline because a report was released from Deadline, which revealed the biggest box office bombs of 2022, and they're really bad. And 3 of them belong to Disney, and they equate to how much have they lost, Culture?
Over $250 million.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
When you look at the first film they present, this is staggering.
Even the dog was disabled in this.
Yeah.
How did it lose money? Even the dog was disabled.
Because this was one of the wokest movies ever made, right? Like,
even the dog was disabled.
This is the movie equivalent of Velma, right? Like that was a movie, that was a show where even the woke folk are like, okay, now you've gone too far. This was a movie where even the woke folk are like, yeah, now you've gone too far. It was so bad that Disney took all the money they were spending on P&A for this and shoved it into, what was it, Doctor Strange at that time?
No.
Black Panther.
Black Panther 2, yeah. Woke forever. Yeah.
And I don't even see how they made money on that thing, and I don't think
there's an argument to be made there.
Because they paid themselves for it. That's why.
Revised production budgets are coming out.
Well, and the other thing is, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, as you said, the thing is that they lost $197.4 million on this one movie alone.
What?
So you say the $250 million? It's actually more than that.
Oh yeah, it's over $250 million. Yeah.
You know, sure Lightyear's 100.
Oh yes, $197.4 million on this absolute travesty. Right, absolutely terrible film. Amsterdam. Whoever thought? I mean, this $108.4 million loss straight away. So that's $300 million. Boom, instantly gone.
I still think this was an acquired property, but I could be wrong.
How do you mean? What, they bought it?
I don't think they were the ones who originally greenlit it.
No, it's New Regency financed film. Had to shift its planned production from Boston to LA due to COVID. Despite so, I mean,
a distribution deal with Disney. It said,
yeah, but still, I mean, they're the ones that bloody. I mean, they obviously thought there was something in it. Yeah, terrible. And so, and this one, whoever thought this was going to do particularly well anyway? Why would you spend so much money on this film? Why would you spend so much money on this film? Why? What are you doing? Like $171 million they spent on this film.
Yeah.
It's just madness.
Well, what's sad is it said it was actually shot during COVID. I would have given it the excuse because, like, there's been a few movies that are coming out where, like, people have said to me they look like crap or, like, what's with all these crappy movies? It's like, well, I've had to tell people a lot of this shit is probably stuff that was sitting on shelves.
Yep.
And never got released before COVID. Yeah. And because that's where people kept asking, well, why don't they release Ghostbusters? Why don't they release Top Gun? It's like, well, if they release that shit now in the midst of COVID, they ain't gonna have nothing to release after COVID when the theaters are open again, as we saw. And of course, for Top Gun, that worked out massively well. Yeah. And here we are. I think we've reached that kind of spot where there's a lot of, they're trying to fill in gaps and some of this stuff. But this movie doesn't have the excuse because they even say they were filming in the midst of COVID. So yeah, can't give that movie that excuse.
No.
Yeah.
And just like, why would you spend so much money on it as well? I mean, the budget shot up from $50 to $80 million.
Yeah.
God, you're spending money on Margot Robbie, Christian Bale, John David Washington, Taylor Swift, Chris Rock, Anya Taylor-Joy, Rami Malek. I mean, that's like Bale got paid under his normal rate of $5 million. Basically, loads of people were like, we'll just take a lower paycheck for this as well. So it's not even made up of their paychecks because they wanted to be in it. Just you wouldn't spend that much money. It's just ridiculous.
Well, what I love
and then
is
Lightyear, fucking hell,
well,
Lightyear.
this is all Disney. This is all their money.
This is all Disney. And what is shocking about this is the total expenses.
Yeah.
$373 million. That ain't even all of it.
Nope.
I was going to say, I argue they lost more on Lightyear than that.
I think they did use more on it. Yeah.
300. Where did it go? 373, $200 million production costs. Prints and ads, 110. What are you doing?
Like, I'm almost wondering if Disney's doing all this for like legalized money laundering or something.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, it's a source deadline estimates, so
yeah. But look, it's not wrong. It's very close. It might be slightly higher, as I suspect it is.
Yeah, they're on conservative side. So
yes.
There's the rule of thumb of 50% of production budget for marketing, but then there's also, there's the other side of it is where some people just go, well, you double it. You double the production budget as a general rule of thumb. Yeah. So there's two general rules of thumb. There's the 50% as a conservative estimate. You're guaranteed to always be right if you do the 50% estimate. Or you look at, actual where the material was, what you saw, and then you can do the double production budget.
Yeah.
Equal to, production
budget. I always fall in the middle. I always go 1.8%. Instead of doubling it, I just multiply it times, 1.8.
Yeah.
1.8 times. And that way I'm safe because I'm falling within the margins. And it's more often than not twice as much. So just like you said, Nate. And so when you look at this, the studio lost $106 million. What I'm enjoying is the cash on cash return that they've been adding at the bottom. I'm like, for every dollar spent, they got 72 cents back.
Fuck. I mean, this is terrible. Terrible. Real bad. But then also, how did it earn $95 million from streaming?
Because
there's one culture. Why don't you explain how this works?
Okay, so Disney always pays themselves.
Yes.
When they get a product onto their streaming service, they pay for it, right? They pay for it what the market value of it would be if they were to say release it to Netflix, right? Or whoever, like one of the streaming services wants your film, you negotiate a price with them. They're saying that their reasonable market value for the film would have been $95 million on television streaming. So they theoretically paid themselves $95 million, except they didn't pay themselves jack shit. So
you could argue Disney paid Pixar for it or something like that. It's completely legal, I guess.
It's legal,
it's
but
one of those funny business practices. But yes, it's basically like
it's a
just
lie.
because you take $10 from your right pocket and put it into your left pocket, you don't have $20 now. You just have $10.
You didn't make
pocket.
You didn't make money, and so. But this is creative accounting, and again, it's one of the ways. Then one of the reasons why they break everything up the way they do, and it's also why productions have their own individual LLCs or LLPs, so that they can isolate the funds. And if you ever want to know complete transparency, the best country in the world for it is the UK, because if something is made
Company's House.
Yeah.
Company's House is brilliant, guys. You go on Company's House, you can see any registered company, not sole traders, but any registered company. You can see everything that they do, and they have to file it. You see everything.
Every dollar.
So can you see all the stuff going on over there right now with the Acolyte and all that?
It's out there. Yeah. You can see it, Nick.
Company's House. Yes.
I'm going to throw a question out there on that home entertainment number, too. I'd like to know where they get 60 million.
Maybe selling it to like YouTube and stuff.
Well, maybe because I'm looking at the actual numbers here for the DVD sales and Blu-ray sales are only $3 million. So
VOD?
that's got to be completely video on demand, as we say, because no
but
way.
I don't believe any of that. I don't believe any of those numbers are real.
Yeah. I think those are some very fudged. No, well, not fudged. I won't say that. They're very estimated numbers. I'll say, and they're
Well, and the next question is, because they are hiding these monies all over the place, could they have used like one of their other like co-streaming services like Hotstar to like artificially?
That's true. I didn't even think about internationally how this. Yeah, they probably added in some shit there too.
Yeah. Oh, this is terrible. This was
This was a good movie.
A lot of people say that, but it didn't do well.
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it was good.
Well, this is another example. Well, this is another example of them pushing Jonathan Majors to the forefront, and his PR firm and his management being, this is the next big star. Watch this guy. He's in everything. Boom, boom, boom. Essentially, most movies been in have lost money now. I think Creed 3 hasn't lost money. Everything else has lost money.
Barely. I mean, that thing fell off a cliff as soon as the news about him got out.
Yeah.
That, and I think the other thing that didn't help as soon as people realized that Sylvester Stallone wasn't in the movie either, because it had a strong opening and it fell off a cliff. Like nobody.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then just lastly, because I think it's funny, is Babylon for Paramount. Now, this was essentially.
I watched the first 10 or 5 minutes of that thing and I shut it off.
Well, it was just essentially, it was Hollywood circle jerking. It's just. It's an exercise in narcissism for Hollywood.
How is Disney involved in this?
They weren't. They're involved in the three that we.
These are just the biggest flops of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
In general,
gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, but I don't want this just to be Disney focused. I want to talk about all of the flops in general. So the first three are Disney, and then we move to this one, which is a Sony movie, Black Label Media Sony, and then the last one is a Paramount film, which lost surprisingly not as much as I thought it would have lost. $87.4 million.
Did he get a little boost maybe from the Oscars and stuff? Probably.
Yeah. Well, total expenses were light. I mean, $162.4 million. So not that much. Not that much at all. But this is where we say about the example of production budgets and marketing.
A lot cheaper than I thought it was.
80 million and then 60 million.
Because they shot it on film, I believe, too, on top of it all.
They must have known this was going to be soft.
Yeah.
And again, they're adding in that mysterious television streaming number there.
Yeah.
But that's
a Paramount Plus $1.
Yeah. Creed 3 you could argue Creed 3 made some money. You could argue
barely.
Yeah. Yeah, they paid $75 million to make it. It spent about 5 weeks in the theaters.
Yeah, but how much? We don't even get to see. I'm wondering, they're not even factoring in that. See, there's missing in those charts the back end deals for some of these guys. That's right.
Well, ancillary costs and
if they get first dollar gross.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the other, what's the other fun one? Oh gosh, it's not distribution, but it's another cost that's factored into a lot of the accounting here, but we don't get to see that. But anyway, regardless, it's fun to consider that Disney lost
three of the biggest flops of last year, and it's going to be the same this year.
Yeah. And well, can you imagine? Okay, so when I have a video coming out about, I did a video about this today, about Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, it's not looking good. On the second channel is doing really well on that.
Yeah,
not looking good, guys. Not looking good. So anyway, I thought that'd be a funny little deep dive. Just as a bit of a break from the other topics. Let's get to some super chats that dropped in, guys. So if you want to support the podcast, you like what we're doing here, drop it a super chat, super sticker, a really good way to support the show. Hit that thumbs up button. Also, in the description box, as I've just referenced, the second channel, Mistakes Reviews Live Archives, is the podcast channel. All the clips go there from these streams and the whole podcast stream as well. So hit subscribe over there. And everyone's channel is in the description box. So check them out and hit subscribe. Let's boost their numbers. Gary for £10 says, what do you think about Michael Douglas wanting to sell his looks so movies can use him after he's dead? I like it because there are so many sequels I wish we could have, but we can't because actors have died. So I think this is like a double-edged sword, right? Like, you know, we hear about Bruce Willis, for instance, right? Like, Bruce Willis is one of those people that kept appearing in really garbage movies and, you know, he's phoning it in. And then it turns out it wasn't. You know, he was appearing in garbage movies, but it turns out he wanted to try to make as much money as possible before he was physically unable to make any more. And he wanted to make as much money as possible for his family, obviously to see his health, you know, to his care through. Obviously, it's going to cost quite a significant amount of money as well. And so I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, I think ultimately, you know, actors do things and they obviously have every right to do these things. They are famous for a reason, especially if you're Michael Douglas, you're famous for a bloody reason. You know, if he chooses to sell his likeness, I think good on him. I would say it depends who you're selling it to as to the quality of the back end of that deal. You know, so if it's Disney, for instance, probably not going to be that great. That's someone that would abuse his likeness, I would say. But people have the right to do what they want at the end of the day.
I'm going to blow your mind and say it's already been happening. This is a new occurrence. In fact,
Gary
Tunnicliffe and some other people we've talked to have already told us that this is becoming a thing where these actors are going in every couple of years and getting themselves scanned.
Yeah.
For this very reason. And they're selling their entire persona, basically lock, stock, and barrel to an entity or a corporation. We've already seen it in music as well. Right, like a lot of these classic rock stars and musicians are selling their entire catalogs, their likenesses, the whole shebang. Tina Turner did it recently. There was a couple others.
Yeah.
And basically then what they'll be able to do with them is use them in any way, shape, or form. In fact, a lot of the original cast of Star Wars signed over their likeness rights again to Disney to be able to use them. That's how they're able to use Luke and all that stuff again. I think the only one who didn't sign over was Harrison Ford, as usual. But like, yeah.
He's funny. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't mind them doing stuff like that. Like, again, I think Bruce Willis is a perfect example of, you know, we didn't know what was going on and it all comes out and then you go, yeah, like, that's sad, you know, and I understand the motivations to doing what he was doing. And, you know, like, I get it at that point, you know, and there's lots of stuff that happens behind closed doors that people just simply don't know. So yeah, there you go.
I like it though. Talk about being able to remarket somebody's rights generationally. I think that if the family remains in control and they can reissue those rights like every decade, it's not bad.
Yeah. No, I don't hate it. I think, again, it's dependent on who they go to, but again, it's an actor. They have the right to do what they want. You know, it's their likeness at the end of the day. We can only comment on the quality of what happens on the back end of it. Paulus Plain for 100 Norwegian krona says, I love you all and F my dyslexia. Thank you, Mr. H. But good night, bedtime. Well, thank you so much, my dude. And in fairness, I wouldn't have even known you were dyslexic. Your typing's absolutely fine. So, you know, I know obviously dyslexia has its, you know, rears its head in different ways, but still, F your dyslexia, I guess. I don't know how to add to that. But yes, thank you so much. And I'm glad you like the content as well enough to contribute. Just Nova 1138 for $4.99 says, hello, gents. Is it possible Disney is so confident in their political content because their debts will be paid by investors and not the audience's profits? Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like BlackRock and Vanguard, then, aren't we? Really?
But it's very short-sighted if they believe that long term, because politics change with corporations. And if let's say an administration in this country gets their hooks into the idea that ESG is bad and that any company that's operating under those principles is now subject to an immediate audit, which could be done, then it would be very unfortunate if that's what they were relying on as a mechanism for success. So again, if you want to be a long-term strategist, you have to see which way the political winds are blowing. And right now they're not blowing favorably for the idea of ESG and this non-profitable methodology of investing. A lot of these entertainment enterprises are now being sued for various things that they're doing. So I would anticipate that while this may be some short-term thinking here, I think that I think this wouldn't be in their best interest.
No.
I see bad things on the horizon for people who are relying on ESG money. There's only $61 billion in ESG money going to entertainment this year. That's not enough to keep all these studios afloat. So
Yes.
to be fair.
Just
No, but
Nova.
oh, sorry. I was just going to say what they are doing is flipping over to the environmental stuff from the woke stuff now.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're completely right. It's all part and parcel of the same globalist element.
Yeah, because
anyway.
the money dried up with the the woke crap, and now they're just moving on to the environmental groups.
Yeah. So Just Nova drops in $4.99 again and says, I think it'll be interesting when studios will invest in creating their own digital actor and people will just be used for reference and paid less.
Simone.
Hey?
You ever seen the movie Simone or Sim1 with Al Pacino, where he creates a completely digital actress?
No.
It's a good movie.
I was gonna say it rings a bell, but
it came out like 10 maybe years ago, maybe a few more.
I'll have to have a look.
Actually, maybe like 15 years ago, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I don't know whether that would be good or not. I mean, that goes to the whole topic of AI as well in general, isn't it? Like AI writing scripts and things. There's actually ways to tell whether AI has written a script, allegedly. So, but it's very much all this sort of new generation of AI on a whole. That's a similar sort of.
They still
in that same kind of vein.
They still have not conquered Uncanny Valley when it comes to humans. Sorry.
No, that's true. That is true. Yeah, they're not 100%, are they? That is very true, actually. They're almost there, but I don't think they ever will be
is
there.
getting really good, though. That's the scary part.
Yeah, it is.
So you still need an actor and certain other, aspects.
Yeah, need a reference point. Well, that's the thing. Deepfake is still the same person, though, isn't it? It's just reference pointing over the top.
AI is getting scary too.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the woman who got the phone call with an AI voice that sounded just like her daughter, saying that she was kidnapped and for them to send her money?
Yep.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and it sounded exactly like her daughter.
Horrendous. Oh, don't like that. Don't like that. Gary for £5 says, can they do it so any company can use their looks as long as they pay the family? Because I wouldn't like just one company. Well, I guess they sell exclusive rights, so it's dependent on what deal they work into with the company itself. So yes and no is dependent on the attorneys and the contracts.
Yep. And my guess, if anybody's paying attention, they're only going to sell the likenesses rights in like a 10-year package or something.
Yeah.
There's already a conglomeration out there, Tom, and correct me if I'm wrong, that actually does digital rights acquisitions for people's likenesses and voices.
Well, this ain't even new. I mean, we had Fred Astaire dancing with a vacuum cleaner back in the 90s, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is true.
Yeah.
It won't be long for John Wayne selling Bud Light or something.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the manliest beer you'll ever find.
Oh, dear. Right. On to a topic which I don't think anyone else has picked up on.
Uh-oh.
But it is interesting. It's
She-Hulk?
No. It's the DC thing, mate. It's the DC thing.
I'm just
so this is a pretty unprecedented statement that's been revealed by James Gunn. And it's actually all to do with whether Warner Brothers has any say in anything that he does. And they don't. They don't at all. So he was asked categorically on Twitter, curious if Warner Brothers gave you notes and how did you receive them? Because this is about him sharing, the image of Superman Legacy, right? He's finished the whole script. They're not going to be announcing any casting soon or anything like that. But basically he says, no, Warner Brothers won't be giving notes on a DC Studios production. Since we came on board, we're two separate entities within Warner Brothers Discovery.
Wow.
So you've got Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company,
right?
DC Studios, Warner Brothers Studios, separate. completely separate
It's
entities.
technically how Marvel is set up, but yeah.
Well, it's still a pretty big thing to have revealed. Pretty big. Yeah, I mean, it's something which
Well, it's
just
kind
sort
of
of
what we said they needed to
thrown
do is
out
have its
there.
own separate studio, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
you guys
Well, I
would
wonder,
understand
guys. I
that,
mean,
but yeah.
my thoughts on it are more just I'm just surprised that that's the way
A
they're
lot of
going.
power.
Yeah.
We've seen what happens with a lot of power in some of these things. It doesn't go well for very long. So,
Well, we've already seen what they're looking to do moving forward. So,
yeah.
you know, maybe this is part of David Zaslav's plan, is that literally have singular people to blame, so they can
Well,
go, well, you literally did this. You are the ones that said
mm,
to do this. We trusted you. We put all the blame on you. There's
yeah,
no oversight committee. It's just you.
yeah,
So your head is on the chopping block.
that makes sense. I mean,
Creatively, we reward you as well, I guess. I don't know.
it makes sense. I mean, I like that idea. Set metrics. You need to meet these performance metrics, or you're gone. Your ideas and you are gone. We don't have
Yeah.
time for this to flounder and fail. And I think if everybody ran their studio that way, it'd be a little safer. I mean, I think that if you look at the way Universal Comcast treats Blumhouse Atomic Monster,
Mm.
because that's kind of what they do. So I imagine if there's successive projects from Blumhouse Atomic Monster that um they're gonna they're gonna be out of there, So, and no more deals.
Well, what do we think, ladies and gents? Nick, what do you think of this? I haven't heard from you for a little while, buddy.
I mean, it sounds sort of like what Tom was saying. It sounds like sort of like the same sort of setup that Marvel's got, Lucasfilm, Disney being
Yeah,
the parent
you're
company.
naming really bad examples of this going successfully.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think it's going to go successfully, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not really that familiar with this whole deal, so I honestly don't have a whole lot to add.
Oh, terrible, Nick. Come on, you should be up on it. We've covered this a few times.
Yeah, I'm not.
Tom, what do you think, buddy?
Well, I mean, this is basically what we said they had to do in the begin with. At least people that I've discussed it with before, like Andre and Script Doctor and so on. They need to separate themselves from the main studio because that way you can do multiple projects without it being a studio project per se. But at the same time, you could fail and fall flat on your face, and that's where I think culture's right. And this is one of the reasons why I think they are trying to separate themselves from what came before. And I'm not surprised they won't really carry anything at all over into this new DC universe because it allows Gunn to either succeed or fail on his own, on his own terms.
No, his own merits. Yeah,
My
indeed.
own merits, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's not like, they can go, well, we held on to these Snyder characters in this storyline and that screwed us, or they have anything to fall back on at this point. Once we hit Superman, it's all on him.
Yep.
But it can fail. It can fail, and it's going to be all on their shoulders. And they don't have a 10-year deal. They may have a 10-year plan, but they only got a couple of years to make sure this works if they want to get renewed. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
They need hits right out of the box, Tom, right?
Yes, but I mean, as far as keeping DC separate, it's kind of like what they need to do. That way Warner can concentrate on doing what Warner does otherwise.
Yeah.
Because it used to be that, we'd get one of these superhero movies every couple of years. There was Superman, there was Batman, and then all of a sudden you got this 3 or 4 different trying to get, a DC universe off the ground and it failing miserably. So at this point, you kind of have to do it this way, like go in with a plan and start fresh. And again, it's going to all matter on whether or not James Gunn is the right guy for this or not. That's really what it's going to boil down to.
Yeah, I still am not sold. I mean, they really had to beg him to come in and do this gig. I mean, that kind of concerns me. And giving him that much autonomy maybe was part of that negotiation. But at the same time, I mean, Gunn's had flops too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not like he's not smash hitting it out of the park all the time. Not at all.
It also makes it easier, and this is going to be something that's going to gin up a lot of hate from people. It also makes it easier for them to get rid of them and sell DC off as an entity entirely.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Sorry, I'm looking at it from the business.
There is that, but there's also the fact that, and I brought this up before, I don't know if I brought it up here, though, where Warner Brothers has been a mess for about 25 years. And one of the biggest problems is how sectioned off everything was before. And I think that's part of what Zaslav is coming in to try and clean up. Because you had things that were DC related that were underneath the children's entertainment department or family entertainment department and shit like that. And they had too many issues with people working with each other. So hopefully, if anything, this just kind of cleans everything up, and it doesn't matter if it's animated or live action or what it is, TV show, movie. If it's DC related, it's handled by DC Studios from here on out, period. Hands down, end of discussion.
Yeah.
And that kind of eases that. Plus, if, like Culture said, shit hits a fan, you can fire somebody and or sell the whole kit and caboodle off without any issues. So I can see it as a... Yeah.
It could be argued that DC has not been a financial success recently.
Yeah.
Just
I don't
saying.
think anyone would argue with that.
Yeah, Black Adam 2 or Black Adam Shazam 2. Either one of those did.
You think Blue Beetle and Aquaman are going to be smash hits?
No, not at all.
I mean, in a universe that they've already pretty much walked away from. I mean, who's going to care about the Aquaman movie? I mean, the universe doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, rewind back to the second Suicide Squad film. That didn't exactly make money hand over fist.
Yeah, Blue Beetle. I mean, I grew up collecting comic books. I don't even know who that is. I mean, I don't know how popular that character is.
Not massively, not hugely popular. Not like a smash hit success runaway anyway.
Paulie likes him.
Yeah. Right, well, ladies and gents, let's shuffle on briefly. Tom Workin drops in with $2. Super chat says deepfake, a lot of porn protected under parody.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. Well, interestingly enough, the AI scripts and things like that, AI artwork and stuff, is actually protected under copyright in the UK. Like, it's not. It is actually the person who inputs it into the AI that owns the copyright of that thing in the UK, which isn't the same in the States.
Nope.
So it's interesting how we're basically ahead of the sort of curve on that. I can't remember why or how that happened, but just interesting. So we're going to move on now to one of our last topics, which I believe you know more about than I do, Tom.
Oh boy.
Star Trek Section 31 movie
Lord.
officially in the works with Michelle Yeoh reprising Star Trek Discovery role. Now, I know very little about this, but I will say this screams to me as something which she was contractually obligated to do, something which was actually dead, and then something which they resurrected quickly and literally fast-tracked because she's now an Academy Award winner. That's what I would say.
I would say you're very astute.
Thank you, good sir.
Because this actually happened pretty quickly. I got a scoop from a source, and I usually don't run with stuff from singular sources, but this source has been pretty solid. Not everything's been 100%, but it's been pretty darn close. And some things have yet to come to fruition, but it's been pretty spot on. Because I announced this, that, we're going to get an announcement for Section 31. It seemed to be moving forward. The only thing my source got wrong is they misinterpreted event for movie. Or they didn't realize that event meant movie. They thought event meant like event series, because that's what they had been referring to, like Yellowstone series and stuff like that. So it appears that, yes, it just as I had been told, they're doing Section 31. And I think you're right, Nate, because the stuff that we had been hearing before was the only reason this is happening is they got her an executive producer role on this. This thing has been languishing in the background, and CBS really wasn't all that interested in it until Michelle Yeoh won the Oscar, from what I heard. And the moment that happened, they're like, what's this deal we got with this whole Section 31? Because her folks, from what we had heard for years now, had been telling them, look, if you're not going to get this off the ground, we're going to start getting her signed up for other gigs because she's a very in-demand actress. Now more so after the Oscar. So with that, I think this is a make good on whatever contract was left over. Get a movie in and out, done. Plus, it also falls in the whole line of we're not so sure what the hell is going on yet with Star Trek because we're hearing conflicting things over, you know, whether or not Kurtzman is going to retain control over this going forward after his contract is up with Star Trek in 2026. Now, we also heard, though, that his contract had been extended till 2030. That could very well just mean his contract with CBS, because this is a very tangled web over at CBS. CBS actually even has some stake in his company's secret hideout. So, like, they're not getting rid of him anytime soon, but they have been noticing the fan reaction to Picard season 3. So that's another thing that's throwing the monkey into this wrench. I've got some other things I've heard from him that or them, or they, whoever it is. Honestly, I don't even know if it's a girl or guy, to be honest with you. That was not very smooth. And to say that basically, yeah, at this point, there's a lot of up in the air. They are trying to figure out where to go with this. They thought they knew where they were going. Things changed. Picard 3 season 3 did change a few things. Michelle Yeoh winning the Oscar changed a few things. And that was already in effect before Picard season 3 had even dropped. So this is something they've been working on. The reason I knew this was coming is because I had gotten word that they had gotten their tax break.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew this was coming. So yeah.
So it looks like Star Trek's going right back to being shit after Picard season 3.
Yeah, basically. And Kurtzman's definitely involved. So we've got statements here from Michelle Yeoh and Kurtzman. I'm beyond thrilled to return to my Star Trek family and to the role I've loved for so long. Section 31 has been near and dear to my heart since I began the journey of playing Philippa all the way back when this new golden age of Star Trek launched. I can't fucking say that with a straight face. To see her finally get her moment as a dream come true in a year that showed me the incredible power of never giving up on your dreams. Can't wait to share what's in store for you, and until then, live long and prosper, unless Emperor Giorgio decrees otherwise. Now, look, I like Michelle Yeoh. I'm happy for her. I am, but fuck Star Trek. Anyway, Alex Kurtzman jumps in. His statement, it said, all the way back in 2017, before the first season of Star Trek Discovery had even aired, Michelle had the idea to do a spin-off for her character, Philippa Giorgio. She broke new ground as one of the first 2 women on screen in the pilot to usher in a new age of Trek. What fucking new ground? There's been women in Star Trek. What are you on about?
They're morons.
What are you on about?
Well, fuck Janeway.
What the fuck?
I mean, the long list of
Michelle who
females in Star Trek. We could literally go on and on.
She broke new ground as one of the first 2 women on screen in the pilot to usher in a new age of Trek. Oh, he's saying that he's a dumbass. That there was only 2 women in the pilot, is what he's saying. But he's framing it as a record breaker. God, what a dickhead. Anyway, sorry, ladies and gents. I'm tired, and
he's still a moron, and he deserves our ire. Don't.
It says, and now 6 years later, Star Trek Section 31 finally arrives on the heels of her latest groundbreaking win. So it's all about that, yeah.
Yep.
Everyone on Team Trek couldn't be more thrilled to have our legendary friend return home to us as we expand our storytelling into new and uncharted corners of the Trekverse. Long live Emperor Giorgio. Long live Michelle Yeoh.
You know, Trek wouldn't even exist without Lucille Ball. I hate that kind of reporting.
I hate Alex Kurtzman. He's such a dickhead.
Well,
I know. I don't even know if he likes himself.
No, how can he?
I gotta say, how can you? He's obviously has no self-respect.
I mean, look, to break it down, right? Like Michelle Yeoh, great. She's a great actress. Great to see her getting her star shining again. Really good. Like, honestly, cool. Just fuck Alex Kurtzman, fuck Star Trek.
This character that she's playing is one of the worst characters in Star Trek history. Like if they would, if this was a show about her original version of her, because that's the thing you guys got to realize if you haven't watched STD, this is a mirror universe version of this character, right?
Yeah.
So she's not even supposed to be here. The only reason she was able to stay here is because they fixed her algorithm or some shit. Like it was a stupid episode. Yeah, it was like she was like phasing in and out, and they're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong with her? Oh, this is not her universe. So she either needs to go back or we need to fix her DNA." And it's like, are you kidding me? This is dumb.
Did
Just
those
send the
showrunners
bitch
ever
back.
watch Deep Space Nine?
No, clearly not. And I just the whole like now I'm getting bad Nam flashbacks from fucking STD.
I'm glad I stopped watching that show after the first episode.
God damn, man! Like crap. It's gonna be crap, isn't it? Like, let's be honest.
So basically, what we're gonna have here is somebody who shouldn't even be in this universe, who ruthlessly kills people and eats the species that Saru is, mind you, and from where she's from. Running Section 31.
Oh, I'm sure she'll have fun, I guess. At least there's that.
And the only reason she's still here is because she has this lesbian love relationship with what's her face, Michael Burnham, in her universe, and that version's dead or some shit. Like I forgot now. I don't care. I apologize. I can't wait for Galaxy Quest. I don't know if we're touching in on that, but
Mikey Spock.
We weren't, no.
Yeah.
But wow.
Well, we finally got the announcement for that. We've heard it's coming, but we're finally getting a sequel series to Galaxy Quest. So, yeah. We have real Star Trek coming again.
That's right.
Well, anyway, Star Trek. You thought that they learned a lesson? They have not.
No.
Not at all. No lessons learned. No lessons learned. Paramount.
I know it sounds like I was making up shit for like 5 minutes there, but I'm not.
No, he's not.
That stuff's in the show.
Oh God, I hate it so much. It's just so bizarre.
I don't even. I'm so mad because they, it's like we know we can make Star Trek. We had a guy try to make Star Trek out of the worst possible circumstance situation in Picard season 3, so it can be done.
Yeah, but they just gave it to the wrong person again.
Of course, they write that dude a massive check, bro.
But this is the same issue with Marvel. Kevin Feige's like, we'll hire new people. It's like, yeah, okay, but then the institution's still there, it's still shit. Same thing with Paramount. Paramount are like, we got this great thing with Picard, so let's greenlight a bunch of new Star Trek stuff. People clearly like Star Trek, but the institution around it is still the same. The people in charge are still the same, running actual the core of the Trek stuff. So, fucking God.
The fans.
Yeah,
didn't
Go ahead. I was just gonna say the first 2 seasons of Picard were so bad. They were just like, this is the last season. Just give it to Terry. Just let him do it. And they're just like hands off. And then boom, people actually like it. And now they're so over there scratching their heads like, what?
Well, we had this discussion here before, saying about how, when studios back off from, when studio heads back off from a property, that's generally speaking when it's the best. Like Alien, for instance, was that. Predator, for instance, was that. There's so many properties that, when the studios backed off from things is so much better. And then they're like, oh, this made money. We'll get involved. We've got to make sure that it makes more money in the next time. It's like, no, it made money because you weren't involved. You absolute shit stains.
Yeah.
And
that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's the conversation. And it's one of the reasons why I think the Joker 2 film is going to be shit.
I still think that's weird enough to know that they weren't getting involved in that, to be fair.
We'll see.
I mean, that's pretty batshit crazy. I don't think the studio got involved.
Who knows, man?
Obviously, well, yeah, we will find out, won't we? But I can't see them greenlighting that.
Not to change subject, but I have an update on Jonathan Majors from my source, who also told me he was fired from the MCU.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
They're also saying he's let go from all his other upcoming projects, The Man in the Basement and the ads for the Texas Rangers and the Otis Redding biopic as well.
Wow, so he's losing everything.
Take it with a grain of salt. It's a rumor.
Yeah.
Allegedly losing everything.
He's gone. He is gone. So we got some super chats real quick. Gary for £5 says Harrison Ford is too lovable to be Thunderbolt Ross. Use the multiverse to bring Sam Elliott back. He's a perfect Ross.
I love Sam Elliott.
But Harrison Ford can be an arsehole.
Yeah.
So, I think it could be good. I think it
As
could
long
be good.
as they don't try to kill me like everybody in Lucasfilm.
Tom working for $3.
That just got reported.
What?
I mean, literally, as you were reading that,
What?
that just came out on
What
Deadline.
Did it really?
Right.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Let me put it up here.
Well, I can't take credit for it much then.
But that's amazing.
Holy crap.
28 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh, he was going to be in an Otis Redding movie.
So
Yeah.
that is actually
Wow.
A lot of people don't know Otis Redding's last recording was sitting on the dock of the bay.
It was.
And he died before it was ever released.
Yep. Sad but true.
Wow.
Sad but true.
So does anybody think that he is not in big trouble?
In Little China? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Not looking good for him, for sure.
So, exclusive, Jonathan Majors has been dropped from a slew of projects we hear on good authority, including Protagonist Pictures' feature adaptation of the Walter Mosley novel, The Man in My Basement, an ad campaign for the Texas Rangers MLB team, as well as an unannounced 5th season's Otis Redding biopic, which the primetime Emmy-nominated actor was circling.
So is Tom Source the same source that Deadline has, or somebody from Deadline?
Who knows?
They might have just told me this because it came out in the papers, but
that's true.
Yeah, like the fact that news, like they told me 6 days ago about the Majors thing, and then here we are, Monday morning, the news drops that he was dropped by his firm, and then now we're hearing of these 3 projects falling apart. Yeah, I think we're just a matter of time before either we hear he's out of the Marvel universe, or they'll just announce who they're going to recast him with.
Wow.
But like I said, this is a form of Hollywood blacklisting. It's not a good sign when a management firm bins off an actor. It is a bad sign when a management company bins
Same
off
thing
an
happened
actor.
to Gina. Her management and all of them bailed on her.
It means that they're done. Like Hollywood doesn't want to know them. They're gone. Hot prediction: he's not coming back from this.
Oh hell no.
Probably
he
not.
better hope he's innocent at this point. He better hope there isn't a very damning video at this point. That's all we can say, because otherwise this man has no redemption.
Yeah. Well, that just adds to it, doesn't it? It just adds to what we said earlier. Goodness me.
He'll wind up over at Daily Wire.
Well, Val Zalo says all because of allegations. No, it's because his charges have been brought against him.
Yeah, it's a little bit harsher.
He's been charged. He's been charged. He's appearing in court May 8th. It's not just allegations. He's appearing in court to face the allegations, to face charges. It's not just, it's not just allegations. It's a little bit deeper than that, unfortunately.
I'm curious if he's going to plead not guilty or if he's going to take a plea deal. First day in court, if he's going to work something out with the DA to kind of just make this thing go away and just cut a plea deal, not take it to trial. Yeah, May 8th will be an interesting day for sure on all this.
Well, it's the week of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 dropping, so it's not good for them.
No. But they might see it as a win, and that's where normally I would say, like I've been saying since I've reported the scoop on Majors, I was like, I don't even think we'll get it like an announcement from Disney. But then again, I could be wrong. They might, just to kind of get out ahead of Guardians 3, to kind of be like, hey, look, we did this, and then I'll kind of give them some goodwill going into that, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is no good scenario in this, right? So he gets found innocent, someone's lied. That's really shitty. He did it, someone didn't lie, he's an abuser. Those are the two circumstances around this, like
the thing that really annoys me is the people that make these false claims and then it's proven that they basically just lied and the person was innocent the whole time, nothing
No
happens to
repercussions.
that person, you know?
No repercussions. I mean, that's the travesty in all of this, right? You are right. Like, this has happened before, and there's nothing to incentivize against people making these kind of false allegations in the future. And that sucks, like, that's garbage. I guess, one of the beneficial things for the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial was that is a form of, incentivization against making defamatory statements. If you got the money, prepare to go to court, because people will do it, like Johnny Depp did, but obviously not everyone can. But yeah, interesting, sad, and interesting all at the same time. Now we've got one last super chat for the day from Gary for £5. Says, hope it's not true. Otherwise his girlfriend getting now. Am I too tired? Do I know what you mean?
I'm trying to figure it out too.
Is it?
Hope it's not true.
Hope it's not true. Otherwise, his girlfriend getting now. Yeah, and that would be Jonathan Majors' girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's crap all round.
Yeah,
regardless. There's no outcome where there's no great outcome here. One's a liar, one's an abuser. Those are the two circumstances. None are particularly great, quite frankly. But that about wraps it up here, ladies and gents. We've got the final episode of The Mandalorian tomorrow, so I really do sincerely hope Nick can make it on Thursday. That'd be really good if you could.
Yep, I will do everything I can to be checked into the room in time.
I gotta go. Good. I have to go see this. I have to go see Evil Dead Rises. I have to go see it.
On Friday. It releases Friday.
I know.
You do need to see it, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, that's what I'll be watching on Friday, ladies and gents. Evil Dead Rise. I got loads of movies I'm watching lately. Just literally every single week. Drive to the movies.
Again, this is a classic horror film, so you will get my perspective on what a good horror film
is. That'd be interesting. Wow, if it's good. I know people that have worked on it, and they said it was really good, like a great film. So we'll see. What have you got coming up, ladies and gents? Nick, what do you got coming up?
Let's see, it's Tuesday tonight, so I'll be going to bed early so that I can get up and do a review of Mando. So nothing tonight.
No chill stream.
No chill stream tonight. I'm gonna try to go to bed pretty much as soon as I get done working. Thursday night, I think Coach will be doing a chill stream with John Trent from Bounding into Comics on our channel, talking Mando, the final episode of Mando. I'll be at Retropalooza in Houston with the Game Chasers, and I'm gonna try to make it to the theater in Houston to see Guy Ritchie's the Covenant.
Yeah, it does look good.
Yeah, it looks good. So and then I'll be in Houston all next week. So I'll be in the streams next week from Houston, Texas.
Very nice.
Oh,
Culture, what do you got coming up, buddy?
When does Barbie come out? Because I got
no idea.
Lose a bet or something? You have to see that movie?
Yeah, July, I believe.
All right. I know I have to see. Everybody calm down. I will go see Barbie. God.
I got Captain Fandom, I think, sent me some money for that too.
Yeah.
Okay, right. What do you got coming up, Culture? What do you got coming up?
Every weekday morning, I do the 6-minute daily, so check that out. I will even be doing that on my interim travels to Vegas, so you'll be able to catch that during the weekdays. Released a video today about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Tomorrow, I'm doing my perspective on the Bud Light weirdness, and I have a Disney video that's probably going to come out on Friday that is not looking good for Disney. So,
perfect. Yeah. So everyone, check out their channels down below. And Tom, another channel you can find down below. Check him out as well. Tom, what you got coming up?
Midnight's Edge After Dark coming up about 45 minutes or so, give or take. Maybe an hour.
Perfect.
Depends on when they get the hamsters up and going. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Well, in terms of what I've got going on, on Friday, tomorrow, obviously Mando. So I'll be watching that, reviewing that. And then Friday's the real home run hitter. We're going to be watching Evil Dead Rise, giving you a review there. This weekend, I am traveling on Saturday, but I will be home in the afternoon, evening time. So there will be a slight delay in content. And Sunday will be usual content, and then a chill stream on Sunday evening as well.
Get in bed with Mr.
regular...
H. Get in bed.
Not been in bed lately. They've not.
Yeah,
been
he's sitting right there where he's at now, or
changing it up in my kitchen. Right. I'm here. I'm all over the place.
Right. Okay. Well, I just know that your audience is just loving your, bedtime with, Mr. H.
Well, maybe.
Last episode of Picard season 3 this week too. We'll be covering that as well.
Yeah. I might binge it.
It's good.
We'll see. I know. I might binge it. We'll see. But anyway, thank you all so much, everyone, for watching. Again, please do. I know you guys like this panel. I know you like the podcast, but check out everyone's channels in the description box. If you like what they've done here on the stream, then you will like their individual content. So head on over to their channels and hit subscribe. But for me and everyone else, thank you so much. We will see you Thursday, 2 hours earlier than normal, but we'll catch you there. Thanks, guys. Take care.
See ya.